Yes, I think we are live. Hiya, welcome. It's the WWE Money in the Bank 2019 panel show. We've been looking forward to doing this since the last one, WrestleMania. I am Jimmy Barnes. Obviously, it's my channel. That's what you're viewing it on. And I'm joined, as always, by my illustrious co-panelists. We've got the Night Owl, Vicky, with us. Hiya, Vicky.
Hey, Jimmy.
How are you doing?
Everybody. I'm doing not too bad.
Good, good. We're also joined by Rach Capper. Hi, Rach.
Hi, Jimmy. Hi, Vicky.
Hey, Rachel.
How you doing, Rach? Have you had a good week?
Yeah, it's not been too bad.
Good, good. And last but by no means least, not suitable for mum, Jason Clow. Hi, Jace.
Howdy do. How are you guys? You all right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
Really glad you could all join me again tonight. We have got someone in the chat already, Mackenzie Jones. Hi, Mackenzie. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for supporting this. Oh, and Smoked Golem 31.
Hey.
Thank you for coming in. So, first order of business. We've just been talking about the running order, and now my mind's gone. My mind's gone. What we doing first? Someone remind me.
Was it my predictions thing from last time, or what? I can't remember.
Yeah. Your WrestleMania prediction.
Yeah. But I just remembered. I just wanted to ask people if they're looking forward to Money in the Bank. So, Vicky, Money in the Bank's tomorrow night. As pay-per-views go, is this usually one you look forward to?
You know what? Between this one and WrestleMania are two of my favorite pay-per-views. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this one. I'm definitely can't wait to see what ends up happening and who gets hurt and who jumps off a 20-foot ladder and who doesn't.
Yeah.
Indeed. Rachel, Money in the Bank, it's kind of, I think WWE really are trying to make it sort of almost on the level of like a Big Four event in a way. What do you reckon? Do you consider Money in the Bank now one of WWE's bigger events, or is it still kind of B level?
I do like it. I tend to like all the ladder matches anyway. So like Vicky said, it's nice to see who's gonna jump off and do any crazy stunts and who's gonna cash in.
Yeah, because obviously we may see a cash in on the night. It has happened at least a couple of times to my memory, possibly even more. Jason, Money in the Bank, where does it rank with you during the pay-per-view?
I think it's right up there. I mean, you think about it. You've got potentially people that I wouldn't say are overlooked, but perhaps sort of on the bubble. And this is their if you like their WrestleMania, or their Royal Rumble.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So it's
often a Money in the Bank briefcase winner is someone who would probably never win a Royal Rumble. For instance, Baron Corbin seemed like I wouldn't pick him for a Rumble unless it was obvious he was getting a big push. Actually, he's probably a poor example, Baron Corbin, because he didn't successfully cash in his briefcase, did he? So, but it's still. It's that kind of, this is my moment sort of thing. When you get that briefcase and, your name's down in history, you are a Money in the Bank winner. It does have a kind of prestige. I think it's had a prestige maybe since the first ever one back in 2005, was it? WrestleMania 21?
Got to be something like that. Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah. So before we get on to the full Money in the Bank card with our predictions and everything. Sorry, let me just interrupt myself just to look at some of the chat. Mackenzie says Money in the Bank still one of the big ones. Yeah, I think it's kind of replaced maybe King of the Ring, although there hasn't been a proper King of the Ring pay-per-view in quite some years. His wife's dad looks like Hulk Hogan. Wonderful. I'm very pleased for him. Yeah, running. Well, no, that would be your father, not father-in-law. Before we go on to previewing and predicting Money in the Bank, Jason, I believe, has some WrestleMania prediction results for us.
Yeah, well, you said to keep it nice and simple, so I won't go over all the matches or anything.
Yeah.
Just before I carry on, my eyes are a bit blurry this evening, so I'm having a little trouble reading the chat, so I do apologise for that. Anyway, on to the results. Now, the winner this time around was Jimmy.
Hey!
You got double figures, mate. You got 10 right.
Wow, and that was probably out of about what 16-ish, was it? Something like that. So
yeah, I think that was about right. Something like that.
I think the more matches it is, the more difficult it is to get a lot in a way.
Yeah. I got 7.
Well done.
Vicky got 8.
Wow, well done, Vicky.
And Rach got 7.
Oh,
Nice.
so we all got near enough, nearly halfway. Vicky, I think, did get halfway, and I got 10. So we all within about 3 of each other. That's good.
Just for the update, because the way I sort of do it is the overall winners is the overall score divided by the number of shows we've done. So as we've done 2, here is the result from that. Jimmy has an average of 8.
Okay.
Right, as does Vicky, obviously, because she's only done the 1.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I have 6.5, and Rach has 7.5. So I'm doing crap.
Oh, I think get good stats. I think these stats will be a lot more interesting as we go further down the year, and we've made more predictions, and other people have won each month and each pay-per-view. Well, yeah, interesting. You said that it was divided by 2. Haven't we? We've done more predictions.
But we only started counting from Mania.
Oh, right. Well, we didn't count Fastlane or anything then.
No, I don't think we did.
Or elimination check. Well, fair enough. Well, that's down to you anyway, mate. So,
anyway, that's what we got from now on. So,
I'll let you carry on as you see fit with that. But
yeah,
brilliant.
I shall go and do a spreadsheet.
yeah, we'll enjoy it. Yeah, make sure you send us a copy. Yeah, we can So I guess all that's left to do is to begin looking at tomorrow night. And they said tonight's. Then tomorrow night's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. I believe Rach Kappa, as she so willingly and ably does, has written all the matches down for us, and she's going to let us know what's coming up. There it is. Look at that in a very nice, neat handwriting there. Great. Can you give us the pre-show match first, please?
Well, the first pre-show match I got, I'm not sure if there's going to be 2, but I've got Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus the Usos.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan and Rowan, who are the current SmackDown Tag Team Champions. It's a non-title match against the Usos. I think there'll be another pre-show match, as there's often normally a minimum of 2 now, but we'll get onto that in a minute. So non-title tag team match. Daniel Bryan's on the pre-show. Vicky, any thoughts about this one?
Well, you know what? I have a feeling, knowing Daniel's character as of late and everything else, I mean, there's many things that can happen. He could turn on Rowan. He can do whatever now that Bray Wyatt's back and everything else. But I have a feeling that they're going to cheat somehow, and the Usos are going to lose, and then there's going to be another rematch.
Right. Yeah.
So I think Daniel Bryan and Rowan for that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So Vicky's made the prediction of Bryan and Rowan. Rach, Bryan and Rowan versus the Usos. It's kind of a throwaway match in my eyes, given on title, but it's something for the pre-show, isn't it?
Yeah, I did really enjoy that match on SmackDown. I thought it was a bit. But I think I'm going to go with the Usos.
Okay.
I'm going to say the Usos with this match.
Okay, so we've got a difference of opinion already. Wow, and we're only 1 match in, and me and Jason get to make our predictions. Not suitable for Mum. Why is this match not suitable for the pay-per-view?
Well, I think the thing is, the Usos, we've seen them wrestle so many times and in so many sort of similar style of things. I think perhaps they're thinking, well, do we really need to hype it up that much? It is non-title. And also Daniel Bryan, I think they're giving him a bit of a back seat now because of all the WrestleMania bits and pieces. So that's probably why it's not that much of a concern. I do think it may be building up to something a bit more. So, with that in mind, I'm going to go with the Usos.
Right, so we've got 2 for the Usos and 1 for Braun and Rowan. Okay. This match, SmackDown rematch, although not for the tag team titles, it's non-title. To me, it's quite unusual seeing Daniel Bryan on the pre-show. Has he been on the pre-show since sort of these really early runs in WWE back in, 2011-ish? 2010 even. I mean, I don't know. I've got no sort of strong feelings towards this. It should be a decent enough pre-show match. We know the Usos are a great tag team, and I do like this kind of vegan faction of Daniel Bryan and Rowan. I kind of miss the vegan championship belt, I will say.
I wonder if they're going to do that to the championship.
Quite fond of that. I can't be dealing with veganism normally, but I can't. For Daniel Bryan's new character, I thought
it works.
Yeah, exactly.
Going back to what Vicky was saying about sort of with Bray Wyatt coming back, will Bryan turn on Rowan or vice versa? I'd never say never to anything like that, really. But with Bryan being, I think he's still technically on Raw, isn't he? Because that's what all these Firefly Funhouse skits are on. So and Rowan's on. I can't see them sort of reuniting anytime soon. But that's not to say it'll never happen, and that's not it wouldn't happen tomorrow. But I just think this is going to be just a decent, if unmemorable, tag team match for the pre-show. Even though it's non-title, I think I'm going to side with Victoria here, and I'm going to say Bryan and Rowan are to retain or win. Sorry, not retain, because
I know what you mean.
But they're going to win. So,
I just want to add to the whole Wyatt family reunion. Anyways, I believe Harper's left anyway, so it's unlikely.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Luke Harper, he's not left the company properly, but he's asked for his release, and I think it's kind of a Neville type situation now where he's just going to be off television waiting for his contract to run down now, I think. Although I did hear on Cultaholic, I think it was, that his contract actually doesn't, because he was injured, his contract automatically renewed for a while, and now he's not out of contract till next summer, I think.
Oh, so bloody hell.
If he's going to sit it out, he's going to sit it out. Yeah, he's going to have to sit it out for like over a year, I think.
I heard it's about 6 months, weren't it? They've added 6 months to his contract or something.
I know.
Yeah, it was that. It was some sort of clause where if you're injured, you can have your contract extended for some reason. Yeah. Just have a quick look at the chat. Mackenzie asked, what's the next pay-per-view after this? Ray says Crown Jewel. It's not actually called Crown Jewel. They're actually calling it Super Showdown.
Yeah.
And we are. It's still the Saudi Arabian thing. It's just a bit confusing because there's an Australian one called Super Showdown last year, but there is a Super Showdown it was about 3 weeks-ish, and that'll be from Saudi Arabia. And we are planning to do a panel for that. It will be on Thursday, June the 6th at 9 p.m. I'll post videos with dates and stuff nearer the time, so don't worry about that now. Mackenzie says Harper was a waste of talent. Hello, Dudley Destroyer. Thank you for coming in, Emily. So we move on to the next match. Now, I think there's going to be another pre-show match, and I'm just going to see if Rach agrees with that. Rach, what's the next match to preview?
I've got written down the WWE Cruiserweight Championship between Tony Nese and I can never pronounce this.
Ari.
Him.
So, title match. Tony Nese, who won his title at the WrestleMania pre-show, he beat Buddy Murphy. He's defending the Cruiserweight title against Arya Daivari. It's not down as a pre-show match yet, but it's likely to be a pre-show match. The Cruiserweight
so, yeah.
is, even if they don't announce it's pre-show beforehand. Vicky, the Cruiserweight Championship, what say you about it?
I'm actually gonna say I do like Tony Nese. I think he's an awesome technical wrestler and everything else. He's had a good run, but Ari Daivari is really good. And I think that I'm gonna say him.
Oh, you think there's going to be a title change at the? Well, it could be on the pay-per-view, but it's most likely going to be a pre-show. So Vicky thinks there could be a new champion in Daivari. Okay, Rach, the Cruiserweight Championship.
Well, as you know, I don't watch 205 Live, so I did enjoy Tony Nese versus Buddy Murphy, so I think he's going to retain.
Yeah. Jason, Nese versus Daivari.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know Daivari was still employed.
No, and you might not be. You're not thinking of his brother.
No. I know there's two of them. Yeah.
Daivari is not loads, but quite a bit younger than Sean Daivari.
I believe so. Yeah. No,
Sean Daivari's heyday was kind of like well over 10 years ago when he was hanging around Mohammed Hassan and all that. And anyway, but yeah, so Daivari.
He's not bad, Daivari. But I wonder. I mean, you guys, do you know how much promotion he's had for this?
Probably about the same amount as pretty much any other number one contender gets on 205 Live. I mean, with me having not seen it in a while, same as Rage, it's difficult for me to kind of really get invested in the characters other than when I see him at the pay-per-views, on the pre-shows, etc. So
I'm gonna regardless, I'm gonna go with Tony Nese anyway.
Okay, so that is 2 for Nese and 1 for Daivari. Excuse me, just taking a sip of tea. Yeah, so Cruiserweight, I always enjoy the Cruiserweight matches on the pre-shows and when very occasionally they get on the actual pay-per-views. I should start re-watching 205 Live again regularly because, ironically, I did used to watch it every week back when people were saying it was pretty crap. So why I stopped when it started getting good, I'm not entirely sure. That's me. I do things arse about face, I'm afraid. Tony Nese, he's not been champion for long. I think Daivari is a good heel on that brand in that cruiserweight division. Nese, I think, was a good heel before he turned babyface. I'm not entirely sure how well his babyface run's going. It could be going well. I couldn't honestly say, but simply because I've not got a lot sort of emotionally invested in this match, and given that he's only been champion since WrestleMania, I will say that Tony Nese will retain this one, I believe. So I think that's 3 for Tony Nese, and Vicky is our lone voice for Aria Daivari.
Plus, he's named after a biscuit, so that's all right.
Yeah, we'll leave him at that. Poor guy.
Sorry.
Okay. Our next Money in the Bank match, please, Rachel.
Well, the next one I've got written down is the WWE United States Championship between Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio.
Right, US Championship, Samoa Joe defending against Rey Mysterio. Now then, if you don't remember their match at WrestleMania, I don't blame you because it was kind of one of those blink and you'll miss it.
I don't remember it.
But Rey Mysterio had been injured, people thought it could be a relatively serious injury. Obviously, it wasn't so serious that he couldn't compete at all, but it seemed obvious that the match was shortened a lot. Maybe partly because of time constraints, but mainly because Rey Mysterio just wasn't working at full fitness. I'd like to see them have a longer match on this pay-per-view. Vicky, what do you reckon to this US title match?
Okay, well, the thing is, we've seen Rey come out of everything and win a championship. Have the WWE championship, and he's a little guy. right?
Mhm.
However, Joe is a powerhouse, and as much as I don't like Joe, he
Ooh,
makes a good
he's
champion. He is a tough competitor. He puts it all on the line. So I'm going to have to say Joe's going to retain.
okay. Fair enough. Rach, who's your pick in Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio?
I think Joe will retain by DQ because I think Ray's son might get involved.
Oh
Maybe.
yes, of course. Yeah, they've got the whole Dominic. They do bring him out now and again, don't they, for these weird for these angles, don't they, Dominic? Although he's a young adult now, isn't he?
Yep.
But,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, fair enough. Jason, I know you're a Samoa Joe fan.
Well, I'm a fan of both of them.
Yeah. But what do you reckon to Joe versus Mysterio, the
Ooh,
WrestleMania rematch?
right. Well, to be honest with you, I love both of these guys, but I think Ray is now being used more to put people over than anything else.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with him. There's a lot of stuff that he used to do that he can't do anymore because his knees are shot. Now, be that as it may, they have given him new stuff to do. I think it would be a good match. It could be. It could be one of the better matches of the pay-per-view. I think I'm still going to go with Joe because they're trying to give him something to do. They've not. I mean, he's been there a while now, and they've not really given him that much to do. And I think he ought to hold on to the title for a bit longer, and then maybe elevate him to say, look, he is a worthwhile having as a champion. Let's see what else he can do with the next one. So, Joe.
Yeah. Yes, we did talk a little bit about this. Well, we talked in quite some depth, I think, about Samoa Joe and the state of the US title when we were doing the WrestleMania preview. And I know we were kind of all in agreement that it'd be nice to see the US title get back some of its prestige that it had many years ago. And I think one of the things that needs to happen for that to occur is for there to be a long-running champion, a dominant champion, a fighting champion as well, someone who defends their title on a regular basis. And Samoa Joe seems sort of prime for that role, really. The thing is, what I'm kind of torn a little bit with this because even though I do agree with what Jason's saying that Rey Mysterio, his current role seems to be to put people over, and I think at his age and sort of his veteran status, that's probably a good role for him. But I just can't help thinking back to when Ray was kind of the ultimate underdog, and he'd be like beating a lot of these much bigger opponents, even when the odds were against him. And sometimes he'd get like a lucky victory against I don't know, maybe Big Show or whoever. I mean, I'm not saying Samoa Joe's on kind of Big Show level sized, but. I think I'm going to go with a consensus. So if one of us is right or wrong, we're all going to be right or wrong on this one. I think I'm going to say Samoa Joe to retain, but it wouldn't surprise me if drop the belt to Ray. But I think at this stage it'll be a little bit of a shame because I think the US title needs to stop being treated like a hot potato, really. I think they need to keep it on Joe till probably at least SummerSlam, I'd say. And then, he can put over like a younger someone like Ali or someone like that at SummerSlam, maybe.
Just reading in the chat, saying, is it Big Rud? They're saying that it was Dominic turns heel. I can see that happening. Happening. Yeah. Because Dominic's getting into wrestling himself, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So, maybe they'll see well, my father's not doing enough for me. Joe becomes my mentor kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good call, actually. Thank you, Big Rod. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for your insights. I could certainly see that happening. It'd prolong this storyline, get a few more pay-per-view matches out, and then maybe even Dominic would be featuring. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he'll be sort of starting in NXT or developmental or anything, but yeah, that sounds good to me. Okay, Rach, our next Money in the Bank pay-per-view match, please.
Well, the next match I got written down because it says on the internet, it says Kofi versus Kevin Owens, but I put the Money in the Bank women's ladder match. I don't think they'll do the championship match early on in the night. So I put the women's ladder match, which is Natalia versus Dana Brooke versus Naomi versus Nikki Cross, who replaces an injured Alexa Bliss, Bailey, Mandy Moore, and Amber Moon, and Camilla, whatever her name is.
Yeah. So this will be, I think you said, an 8-woman ladder match. Sorry, it's for the women's Money in the Bank contract. It's Natalia, Dana Brooke, Naomi, Bailey, Mandy Rose, Ember Moon, Carmella, and Nikki Cross, as Rach says, is replacing yet again injured Alexa Bliss. That does kind of worry me a bit about Alexa Bliss. I'm trying not to say it too much because it'll set my device off. So in that way, it's good. It's good she's not in the match anymore. I don't have to say her name as much, but I do kind of feel a bit worried for her actually. With she wasn't able to wrestle at WrestleMania. She did host it, but I don't think she'd been cleared for that. Had she?
No, I don't think she's been medically cleared for this match either.
No. I think she was in the Women's Royal Rumble, I think, but I don't think she did an awful lot. I could be wrong.
Is that
eliminated, didn't she?
Is that still all to do with her injury she got from Nia Jax ages ago?
She's having some sort of problems with post-concussion syndrome, I think, which is a bit weird. I mean, that's what kept Daniel Bryan on the bench for a couple of years.
And Corey Graves. That's what I did. Corey Graves.
Corey Graves. He's not wrestled at all for a good few years now. But first Money in the Bank ladder match that we're previewing. There's 8 to choose from. Vicky, have you got any particular favourites in this? Any particular hopes to win, or any is your head ruling your heart, or heart ruling your head here, or what?
It's all kind of thrown around in my head. Like, as much as I want to see, so many of them win, so to speak, because the women, like I said on the last one that we did, the women have really given the men the run for their money. So, but in this one, I'm thinking I'm really hoping for Ember Moon. I really like her entrance. I like her wrestling style. I like that she's, one of the tougher competitors, almost like a Beth Phoenix kind of wrestler. She's got the muscles, she's got the timing, the technique, everything down to a T, and like her persona, everything. But Carmella being in this match too, she could pull one of her, I'm going to lay on the side of the ring until everybody else is screwed up, and then I'm going to go get the championship, because we know Carmella is famous for that. Right?
To help her out this time, so fortunately, I mean, I kind of put a dampener on the first ever women's Money in the Bank match, didn't it?
I still remember that.
Yeah,
and didn't Carmella win the match from WrestleMania too? The Royal Rumble, it was.
I can check because I've got them all written down.
Yeah, Carmella, she won the the
Battle Royal or whatever it was.
Yeah, she did. She won it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think she's trying to come back. So for me, it's a toss-up between her and Ember, as much as I love Nikki Cross as well. But I think Nikki Cross still has a ladder to climb in the WWE as well, because she is new from NXT and whatever else.
Do you see what she did there?
Yeah. I had to do it. Anyway, so I'm gonna say Carmella. Unfortunately, as much as I don't like her, I have a feeling she's gonna pull something out of her hat, and
Okay, Vicky, the Night Owl chooses Carmella for the win. Mr. Jam thinks Mandy Rose will win Vince's title, and once Becky retains both titles, she can steal the title from her, then take it to SmackDown. Then Becky will be officially Raw. Some interesting booking theory there from Mr. Jam. Rach, the women's Money in the Bank. What's your prediction?
I as much as I would love to see all these, well, Naomi, Natalia, who else do I say? Bailey. I would love to see all these women win this match, but like what Vicky said, I think Camilla's going to do it. But I think she's going to have help from R-Truth, because you know our confused R-Truth gets. I think he's going to help her.
I love R-Truth.
Yeah. To Carmella. Okay, Jason.
Right. Can we?
In the bank.
So can we just go over who's in again? Because I know most of them.
It's Natalia, Dana Brooke, Naomi, Bailey, Mandy Rose, Ember Moon, Carmella, and Nikki Cross replacing Miss Bliss.
Right. The person I'd like to win, because I think she's kind of been overlooked a bit. You know, they've given her roles and stuff. I'd love Natty to win. I would really, really like Natty to win. I don't think she will, but I would love her to win. I think the next person, and they're kind of giving her a bit of a push. What they've said about Ember Moon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can see her being women's champ.
Mm-hmm.
And doing a good job of it. So I get all the bit about Carmella, all the rest of it. But I think this time, and even because R-Truth stuffs it up, is Ember's going to win.
Right. Ember Moon is your prediction then, Jason?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean, these multi-person matches, they're always tricky to pick unless, you know, it's kind of one person is massively signposted for it. I've not seen the betting odds or anything for Money in the Bank, so I do tend to see them for Royal Rumble, and it's kind of a bit easier to predict, really, even though it's, you know, they're bigger matches.
Yeah.
I don't think Carmella's going to win again. I mean, she won it last year. I mean, she won the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match at the pay-per-view with help from James Ellsworth, which was a joke in of itself. And then she won what was basically a rematch like 2 nights later on SmackDown, didn't she?
No.
So I think they had to put that match. They had to do a redo simply because everyone just hated the fact that it was a man who essentially won the women's Money in the Bank match.
Yeah.
I mean, with James Ellsworth, I'm using man in its broadest sense possible. But, you know,
they're the chinless.
Where's my chin? I don't know where it's been.
But yeah, there's a couple who I'd really like to win in this. I've always been a Bailey fan since her NXT days, but I just don't think she's in line for another big push just yet. And I'm not sure with Sasha Banks staying at home, I think that might do more harm to Bailey than good at the moment. But hopefully not. As for Nikki Cross coming in the match late as a substitute, I know a couple of you, in fact, or even 3 of you, picked Nikki Cross for the WrestleMania Battle Royal last month.
Yeah, I think I picked her.
So yeah, like Vicky says, I think it's a little bit early in Nikki Cross's main roster career to be winning this year. But with Ember Moon, who Jason's picked, I was a big fan of her NXT women's title run. I thought she was great in NXT. She was a great champion. She had good matches. She presented like a champion. If you know what I mean. It suited her to, be that sort of figurehead of the women's division on NXT. And she's not really had an awful lot to do on is she on Raw or SmackDown now? I can't remember. She was on Raw. I know that.
She's on SmackDown now, I think.
Yes, I think she would be one of those that got switched over. But simply because, obviously, I know she's got a big upside, and I'd like to see her get a big push. And I think she's ready, unlike Nikki Cross, so I'm not quite sure she's quite there yet. I will agree with Jason, and I will pick Ember Moon to win this women's ladder match. I'm just going to have a quick look at the comments in the chat. Mr. Jam plus Mandy can have Sonia's help keeping her winning matches until they go with their inevitable split. Yeah, I mean, if like there's sort of allies there, you know, kind of tag team partners or faction members, stable mates, then that obviously kind of gives at least a, you know, a kind of theoretical advantage to one or two of them. Okay, next match, please, Rach.
The next match I got written down is The Miz versus everyone's favourite greatest in the world, Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
It goes on, doesn't it? Yep. And I didn't think we celebrated Groundhog Day in this country, but it feels like Groundhog Day. It seems every time we talk about The Miz and Shane Bloody McMahon. This is steel cage match, isn't it? This one, Miz versus Shane in steel
cage.
Well,
monkey!
Try not to shout, Jason, because sort of if people have got headphones, it might be a bit unpleasant for
Sorry, just had to be done.
It didn't have to be, but you did it. And now we must forget it ever happened. So, Mr. Shane, steel cage. I'm not surprised it's continued beyond WrestleMania because there was at least one more rematch out of it. But I didn't care much in the first place, and I'm not caring anymore now. Vicky, Miz versus Shane, steel cage match. You got any thoughts on it?
Like you said, it's redundant. It's, you know what? It's like, you know that Shane, like, I'm just reading what Rudd's putting in the chat, that he's saying, I think the Miz gets the win to even it out 1-1. And like you just said, I think they've got one more match in them, but also we're also going to see Shane jump from something high and put his body on the line again. Yeah, he's another Jimmy Superfly from 50 feet high, you know, like, but this is the thing. I think I agree with Rudd on that. I'm going to go with The Miz for this prediction because I do think that there's going to be like a tiebreaker match. As you said, there's probably one more match coming out of this. And I think it's going to be tied up at this point. So I'm going to go with The Miz. I'm sick of seeing it, though. I'm done with it.
Yeah. My thoughts exactly, Vicky. My thoughts exactly. Rach, Miz versus Shane.
It is getting a bit boring now. I think as soon as this thing's all done, I can't wait for it to be done over. I think the Miz will win this match, and I think it will go for a tiebreaker at the next in the Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I think
they're
going to have another match there.
Yep. Okay, Jason, Miz versus Shane. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was doing this a minute ago, and it's basically what they're doing. They've got a damp flannel, and they're trying to get the last little bit of moisture out of it. You know, it's
swearing at us, mate.
Say again?
I thought you were swearing at us silently. Weird.
I know I'm deaf, but it's not sign language. I don't really want to pick anybody because I don't care. I really don't care. But the assessment, the basic opinion that yes, they're going to do something else. God knows why. Right? I don't wish hurt to anybody, but I wish that Shane would jump off something and fuck himself up.
Yeah.
Part of my French, just so he can be done with it.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm gonna go with the Miz.
Okay, 3 for the Miz so far. Before I make my prediction, Mr. Jam makes a good point about he thinks Shane will win, then Miz wins in Saudi Arabia, where Shane won the trophy that started it all. Yeah,
that's a very good point. Actually,
continuity-wise, I suppose it kind of does stem back to Shane McMahon inserting himself in that. Well, that World Cup tournament was a little bit of a joke in of itself. Well, yeah, you know my thoughts on Shane McMahon. I don't care how many things he jumps off of. He's not a full-time wrestler. He's taking up a spot that could be used by someone who's actually a full-time professional wrestler who has gone through developmental or the indies or whatever. You know, his name's McMahon and he likes jumping off things. So, yeah, he's going to get these fairly high-profile matches. That being said, I mean, you know, this thing with The Miz, I think The Miz deserves better. I think it's gone on a bit too long, but it's, you know, there's going to be this match and, yeah, possibly one more afterwards. So if, they kind of need a tiebreaker in Saudi Arabia, then really The Miz has got to win this. So I think I'm going to go with the consensus and say, as little as I give a shit, then it's going to be The Miz to beat Shane McMahon in the steel cage.
Right. And we see Mr. Potato Head jump off the top of the steel cage.
Yeah, that's a given. He's going to jump off the top of the cage.
No, but Mrs. Dad.
I'd much rather see him fly. Actually, that'd be. He might change his facial expression. Then. He's just got that one facial expression, that kind of look. So there we are. So what's the next match you've got written down, Rach?
Well, the next match I got written down is the WWE Women's SmackDown Championship between Becky versus Charlotte Flair.
Yep. So Becky is pulling double duty at Money in the Bank. She is the double champ. Becky 2 belts. She's defending the SmackDown version of the women's title against her old frenemy, I don't like that term, frenemy, her old nemesis, former friend, Charlotte Flair. Vicky, we had the triple threat match, the main event at WrestleMania. It didn't really live up to the hype enough for me. It was good that it was in that position, but I think certainly the ending was botched. I don't know what happened there, but that was. I think they tried to play it off like it was deliberate, but it was a botched ending that I think anyone could see. But yeah, Vicky, Becky versus Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's title.
Okay. As I agree with you with that triple threat match, that was just, you kind of knew what was going to happen. It was almost like it was too predictable. And this is what's been bugging me about the WWE lately. Everything is just so predictable, But however, carrying both titles for me, honestly, I think Becky is obviously, we know she's going to lose one of them. But I don't think it's going to be to Charlotte. I think she's going to end up losing the Raw one, but I think with is it the Raw one she's doing against Charlotte?
The Raw one's Lacey Evans. The SmackDown titles against Charlotte.
Yeah, I think that she's going to win against Charlotte, but I think that Lacey Evans, because Lacey Evans is a newcomer, I think Becky is going to win against her, or lose against her.
You predicted 2 matches in one there for us, Vicky, but that's all right. That's fine. We'll bear that in mind when we get round.
Becky for this one, yeah?
Yeah. Becky to defeat Charlotte for the SmackDown title, yeah.
Okay.
Rach, what are your thoughts on this?
I think Charlotte's going to win this one. The reason being, I think Lacey Evans, like you just said, Lacey Evans has only just started really wrestling. Because the first time since she debuted, all she done is walk to the ring and then walk back out. So I haven't really seen enough matches for her to win that title, Becky. But I think Charlotte will win the SmackDown title.
Yeah. I mean, if you still consider Raw the A show above SmackDown being the B show, it stands to reason Becky would be on Raw. But although with this wild card rule, I mean, they're going to have people sort of appearing on each other's brand on a weekly basis. Yeah. Anyway, I won't get bogged down with all that because that's kind of confusing and a bit shit. Anyway, Jason, SmackDown Women's title is Becky versus Charlotte.
Well, again, like I said, is she going to retain both belts? my issue is right is Lacey. So
yeah, well, we can get onto her.
yeah. I know.
To see what Jason's trying to say.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and it's probably similar to your saying, Rach.
Do you know what? I'm gonna just go with a different thing. I am gonna go with Becky, right?
Okay.
And I think because I don't think Charlotte is quite ready for another run just yet. I think it's too soon.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's too soon.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's yeah. So Becky for this one.
Is that 2 for Becky and 1 for Charlotte here?
Yep.
Well, God, it's difficult, especially with it being Money in the Bank, and theoretically there could be a cash in as well. You know, and then 2 of us have predicted Carmella, 2 of us have predicted Ember Moon. So either of those, if one of us or both, 2 of us are right, could end up being a women's champion on one of the brands by the end of the evening. It's tricky this because Becky's in 2 matches, and it's like I'm sure she's going to lose one of her belts, one of her titles, but is she going to lose it in an actual match, or is she going to lose it in a Money in the Bank cash-in? That's the thing. What I'm going to say for this is I think Becky will retain against Charlotte, but I wouldn't be surprised if either after this match or even after her other match she's cashed in on. But we'll get to the match in a bit. So yeah, but I'll pick Becky for this. Yeah, it's kind of this sort of having 2 belts and then a potential cash in. It's kind of messing in my head a bit right there. So
yeah, that's why I kind of overanalyzed it a bit, I think.
Yeah, Mr. Jam thinks Becky wins both, then the Money in the Bank winner cashes in on her. Yeah, they do need to split the women's titles. I mean, it's been cool having sort of Becky come out with both belts and everything, but they can't be doing that sort of indefinitely. Not if the brands. I mean, I'm still of the thinking that they're going to gradually phase the brand split out, especially once SmackDown goes to Fox. But that's just my personal sort of theory, really. Okay, so the next match, please, Rach.
Well, the next match I got written down is Roman Reigns versus Elias.
Elias is actually going to have a match, is he, on pay-per-view? Wow. Okay. Roman Reigns versus Elias. Okay, Vicky. I know you're a Roman Reigns fan, Vicky. Is this the right sort of match for Roman Reigns to be having at this stage?
You know what? As much as I do like Roman, they've screwed him over so many times. Like I said this on the last one too. Like they've taken away so many opportunities and everything else, but they've also done this kind of unused talent with Elias. We've never really seen what the guy can do. So I think this is actually the perfect match for them both because Roman's a big guy and so Elias is just as big. So I think this could be a good one. So unfortunately, as much as I love Roman Reigns, I'm going to have to go with Elias on this one.
Okay. Oh, I'm a little surprised at that, Vicky, but fair enough. Yeah, it could happen, 50-50 really. Rachel, Roman Reigns versus Elias.
I think Elias will win, but I think it's going to be a DQ win because I think the B team might get involved. Either the B team or Shane might get involved in this match.
Mm.
And it ends up in no DQ.
Yeah. Yeah, because Roman Reigns has been having some words with Shane McMahon of late, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I believe on TV. So
you would do after punching his dad in the face.
Yeah. I mean,
to be fair, Vince did deserve that.
I mean, does anyone else? I mean, I know we're slightly going off topic here, but does anyone else think this sort of building towards possibly Roman Reigns versus Shane McMahon at SummerSlam, maybe?
Yeah, there's a couple of theories I've heard.
Yeah, there's a couple other pay-per-views before that. There's Extreme Rules, and then Stomping Ground, and then of course there's the
what a shit name. Sorry.
I mean, Super Showdown's kind of a bit generic and bland, but Stomping Grounds is just it sounds like, I don't know, it sounds more like a sort of line dancing event to me.
He did better than Great Balls of Fire.
Stomping Ground. Grab your partner for
Yeehaw! Dozy do.
Well, he did better than Great Balls of Fire.
Oh god, that was a worst name. Great Balls of Fire, though.
Oh god, yeah, that was bloody awful as well.
I can just picture bloody Vince McMahon just sort of
that sounds like you.
What a brilliant event name that is. I'm a genius. Once again, and everyone else is looking at him like Vince.
Yeah. It sounds more like something that happens after you touch yourself after using heat rub.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm not sure we would know about that, but
no.
Yeah, we're previewing Roman Reigns versus Elias. So I think we've had Rach and Vicky predict Elias for the win.
Yep.
Being normally all via DQ. So Jason, who do you think will win this match?
Oh crikey! I don't know. Well, we're sort of subtracting, going away from it a little bit. But did anyone notice in the UK that Roman was starting to get booed again?
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah. So
a little bit of a mixed reaction at WrestleMania. You know? Not sort of, not overwhelmingly so, but
no. But there was, there was sort of like, it sounds really mean, but they've sort of got over the fact that he's had this illness, and now they're just like concentrating him back, as it were. He's lost the sympathy edge, as it were.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's going to be a sort of a player part of it. I'm sort of trying to think logically, but also at the same time as like what the fans are expecting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a title match or anything.
No.
I'm going to go with Elias because I would like to see Elias get a little bit more of a push.
So 3 for Elias.
I think so.
Hello, Captain Sexy Pants. Captain Sexy Pants is looking forward to AEW. We may get a chance to have a little talk about AEW at the end. I'll make that decision when we've done with Money in the Bank. But thank you for coming in, Captain. Big Rud says Roman should take a loss or two. Yeah. Well, I think this match, I'm having trouble really giving a crap about this one, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't mind this match being there because Roman Reigns, he obviously still is kind of Vince's pet project, and he needs to be healthy. He needs to be on the pay-per-view, but at least he's not in every single Universal or World title match or big match with whoever. This is kind of a little more mid-card. I mean, I can't even remember the last time Elias had a one-on-one match on a pay-per-view. I know he kind of does things at Royal Rumbles and Elimination Chambers and stuff. Normally he's like coming out and, singing a song, and then that's it, really. Yeah. I mean,
did he have a match at WrestleMania?
No, he sort of came out, and then John Cena did his sort of old school shtick.
Oh yeah, that's it.
And he got chokeslammed by the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
That was the year before, wasn't it?
No, this after it was this year after Mania, because do you remember Undertaker?
Sorry, I was still talking about actual WrestleMania itself.
Yeah. No. I mean afterwards, he's been getting a bit of a beat down lately.
But yeah, looking forward to All Elite Wrestling, Captain, certainly. Well, you know what? I'm going to go against the consensus here. I think just because he's still like a big main eventer and Elias is kind of someone who doesn't even wrestle that much, I'm going to say Roman Reigns. I mean, yeah, they could have Elias win by nefarious means, maybe, and then they could have a rematch at Stomping Grounds or even Saudi Arabia. Although there's supposed to be a 50-man battle royal at Saudi Arabia. They need to have some people in that as well.
The next pay-per-view, right? Chicken in the basket.
I wonder if Titus O'Neill's going to slide under the ring again.
Well, I don't think it's going to be like a Royal Rumble. I mean, if they have like 50 men in one ring just to start with, that's just like no one's going to be able to move. It's just going to be like, quick, someone hit me! I can't raise my arm. It's I don't know. I don't know.
They say they fart and they go over the top rope.
Yeah, so really, there's no real point to it. Then they ought to make it a 50-man Royal Rumble again, like they did last year. Even though it was meaningless ultimately, but it was fun to watch, I suppose. Anyway, So I predict Roman Reigns for this one. Yeah, okay. Roman Reigns would beat Elias. Next, Money in the Bank pay-per-view match. Rachel.
I've got written down the WWE Championship match between Kofi versus Kevin Owens.
Okay, Kofi Kingston defending his newly won or fairly newly won WWE title against Kevin Owens, who was even at WrestleMania on the card. I don't think he was.
No, he wasn't.
No. Vicky, Kingston versus Owens.
You know what? I'm gonna say my prediction first, and then I'll explain why. I'm gonna go with Kofi. Just because of the fact that he has been waiting for this for so long. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy match for Kofi. I think Kevin's going to give him a run for his money and everything else. But I honestly think that Kofi's championship, as downplayed as it has been a long time coming. And I think he deserves to be champion, maybe even just to the next pay-per-view, if so. But I really want him to retain it, because he has gone over and above 90% of the wrestlers in this job, like in the WWE. And to finally have that chance and then lose it so fast, I don't think that's going to happen. So, yeah. So it's going to be a tough call.
Yeah, no, good. That's some good points made there, Vicky. Rach, how do you feel about the WWE title match?
I don't think Kevin Owens should be in the title picture since he's been injured for about 9 months, wasn't it? And then he came back.
Yeah, he was out quite a while, yeah.
And came back and then put straight into the title picture. So I think I want to see Kofi win this. But I think Xavier Woods might get involved somehow.
Okay. So, is your prediction Kofi then?
Kofi, yeah, my prediction is Kofi.
Okay, we've got two for Kofi. Not suitable for Mom. What about Kofi Kingston and Kevin Owens?
Right. I'm just writing what people have said so far. Bear with me. Yeah, I kind of get what's being said about Kevin, but when he got injured, they were kind of building him up a fair bit, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's what they're looking at is the long-term picture with him, and this is why it's a tough one to call. I like Kofi. I think he's always, like he said, he's always been like beyond the call of duty when it comes to putting on a performance. Again, a little bit spot monkeyish at times, but damn sight better than Shane O could ever hope to do.
Oh yeah.
I really don't know. I'll say Kofi. I think I'm going to be wrong, but I think Kofi.
Well, if you're welcome to change your mind. But you need to do
that's all right.
Okay. We've got 3 for Kofi. Then Jason's prediction is locked in officially. Well, as simple as this can get. Before I make one, I'll look at the comments. Captain Sexy Pants thinks it'll be the best match on the card, and he thinks Kevin Owens will win.
Could be right.
Matches. Yeah, I mean, Kevin Owens in NXT, we kind of like had this really sort of dominant streak, this vicious, and it kind of carried across a little bit to WWE when he sort of made his main roster debut. I know he had a pretty good feud with John Cena few years ago. Captain also says Owens is the best worker in the WWE. I mean, I wouldn't say he stands head and shoulders above everybody, but he's certainly one of the best workers, equal to maybe AJ Styles and your Seth Rollins and people like that. This match, I mean, it was a brilliant moment at WrestleMania when Kofi won, even though, it was kind of predictable. Well, I say predictable. There was always a chance that Vince McMahon would kind of have an evil sort of swerve and Daniel Bryan had retained, but I think Daniel Bryan was ready for a bit of a rest. I mean, you can sort of see that from him not really doing an awful lot until him and Rowan won the tag titles. I don't think Kofi Kingston's going to have a really long title run compared to, say, AJ Styles had last year. I hope he'd get at least maybe sort of 6 months with it, or till SummerSlam, which should be 4 or 5 months. But I don't know. I don't think Vince McMahon's going to see Kofi as kind of the top guy all the time.
No.
It's, to me, this WWE title on Kofi seems more of a gesture, like thank you for your 11 years of hard work. The fans like you, so we're going to give you this for a little while. That being said, I don't think Kevin Owens has been pushed well enough for him to be the one to take the title off Kofi Kingston. I don't want him to either. I want Kofi to retain. I wouldn't be surprised in a way if Kevin Owens won it, but I just don't think Kevin Owens should be winning it, if you see what I mean. Someone who wasn't even wrestling at WrestleMania is the #1 contender at Money in the Bank for the most prestigious championship in the world, supposedly. I don't know. It just seems a bit odd. Yeah. So I will say for this match, Kofi Kingston to retain somehow.
Okay.
And I think that's all of us gone with Kofi for that one, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So next match, please, Rach.
Well, the next match I got written down is the WWE Raw Women's Championship between Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously we've touched on this a fair bit already. I think Vicky even already made a prediction. But Vicky, you can talk about it some more. Becky Lynch, Lacey Evans, it's the Raw Women's title. Any more thoughts on this one?
Well, just basically, I said I think that Becky could lose it to Lacey because Lacey has been making her presence well known. And she does have to lose one of those titles. As you said earlier, she can't keep going on carrying both titles. However, if they're going to merge them, then something's got to happen. Or, she could even retain it. I could be wrong. But she could retain it and keep it to the end. And after that match, someone's going to come in and cash in the Money in the Bank. They could do that, especially if it's Carmella. I mean, if Carmella wins it, then she's going to do something stupid, right? I just don't like Carmella's character. I mean, she's a great wrestler and everything else, but I just don't like her character. Anyways, but yeah, I'm going to go with Lacey on this one, just because she has been making her presence very well known and very felt through the whole locker room. So yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, just before we get to Rage, Captain Sexy Pants mentioned about Lance Storm once holding 4 title. I remember him being, it was at least a triple champion in WCW. He had the Cruiserweight, US, and Hardcore titles all at once for a little while. But that was good because he renamed them all to sort of more Canadian centric. He named the US title the Canadian Heavyweight title. I think the Hardcore title became something really weird, like the Saskatchewan. Sorry, Vicky, my pronunciation of these places is probably offending your ears. But anyway, that's not relevant. But yeah, there's parallels. He was a triple champion in WCW, and Becky has been. It is at the time of us recording this a double champion. Rach, Lynch v Evans.
I think Becky will retain this one. The reason being is they made a point of announcing her and Seth were a couple. And if Seth retained the Universal title, then they could be the next power couple on Raw.
I like that.
Oh. Yeah,
I do like that.
They've not really gone with it as like a full-on on-screen thing. We know there are a couple in real life, and it's nice. And I think WWE have sort of kind of acknowledged it, sort of, on social media, if nothing else. But I mean, they may end up together on screen. I mean, it stands to reason, sort of like how Rusev and Lana are. But yeah. So you think you say Becky to retain? Did you?
Yeah, Becky to retain.
Yeah, so Becky to retain from Rach there. Jason, who's going to win the Raw Women's Championship match?
I did wonder initially whether they were going to merge the titles. We discussed this, didn't we?
Yeah, right? We did.
And that doesn't look as though it's going to happen now.
No.
So the question is, if you're going to take one of them off her, who would be the most worthy? Now, logic would take Charlotte. We've already said Charlotte's not. We don't think Charlotte's going to win. I think Rach did, didn't you?
Yeah, I said Charlotte.
Yeah.
I said Becky to win for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I still think Becky's going to win, and I do think that whoever wins the women's Money in the Bank will cash in, which makes me wonder whether I should change my pick, because it would be more logical. I'm not going to, but it would be more logical for Carmella to do it than say Ember.
Yeah,
unless Ember turns heel.
Yeah, it's more of a heel thing to do. Although, we have seen sort of quick babyface cash-ins. I think Dean Ambrose's a few years ago. He was a face and he cashed in on the night.
He did it a couple of years though, didn't he?
But he's always sort of like the anti-hero character, wasn't he?
Yeah, but there's something to say that if it is Ember Moon, or even someone none of us have picked, who is a babyface, it could be the start of a heel turn. It's just, this is the exciting thing about wrestling. It kind of, when
it's done right.
So your prediction, sorry, Jace, did you pick Becky? So yeah, like I said before, this is kind of like really messing with my head trying to predict these two women's title matches, because I'm trying to decide where I think Becky's best off. Is she best off on Raw or SmackDown, or still appearing on both, and there being a potential cash in, on this night or soon after as well. Also, I try not to pay too much heed to what other people on the internet and other analysts are saying about pushers and things, but there is a feeling that Vince McMahon is pretty high up on Lacey Evans simply because, she's kind of like she's sort of like another Charlotte, really. She's tall, she's blonde, she's got a nice pair of legs. That's kind of, that ticks all the boxes in Vince's eyes. And, Evans, I did see her in NXT. She did, believe it or not, Rach, she did wrestle in NXT. I know you feel like you've not seen her wrestle, yeah? That's a pretty good point. She was all right in NXT. There again, it was more about the character than the actual sort of what she was doing within the ring. This sort of Southern Belle gimmick, and I think it's quite a good gimmick. It's a good heel thing. She's doing it well, and that kind of leaned me towards thinking, they might give Lacey Evans a run with it if there's no cash in. It's tricky, because now that you've reminded me about Becky and Seth, I'm kind of wondering, have I picked Becky to win the wrong title, picking her to retain the SmackDown belt? But no, I'm going to stick with my original thought. I think simply because I think she's in line for a big push at some point, Lacey Evans will beat Becky Lynch somehow, probably with some shenanigans for the Raw Women's title. I'm going to agree with Vicky on this one.
Yeah. There is one point I'd like to make. If anybody's seen Glow, one of the main characters, similarities with Lacey, maybe.
Yes, Liberty Bell. Very very similar actually. That's a good point. Yeah, great show. Yeah, I will go off topic a little bit here. Great show, by the way, Glow. Anyone who I only got into it like a few months ago.
Yeah.
I
really
watched the first episode.
If you're into wrestling, I mean, it's not all wrestling all the time. You know, there's plenty of drama and comedy and stuff in it. But if you've got interest in wrestling and you like sort of things with a 1980s look and 1980s music and all the rest of it, and it's a funny show and it's really good, and I'm looking forward to the new season. Sorry, I'm glad you brought. I normally don't like to go off topic too long, Jace, but I'm glad you brought Glow up because I do like that, and there's a couple of nice pops out for Glow as well, which are available to see in unboxing videos on my channel.
Cheap plug.
Well, they're already here.
Yeah,
and why not?
My giveaway there. And Captain went to a Glow show when he was 8 years old. Wow, yeah, because it obviously is based on the real gorgeous ladies of wrestling promotion that I believe Ivory was a member of that. I'm Facebook friends with a couple of old Glow roster members as well.
Nice.
One of them was called Sonny, actually, weirdly enough, but it's not the Sonny who we're more familiar with from WWE. Right. Okay, so that was the Raw Women's title match that we've done. I don't think there's too many more matches left to go.
I think there's two. There's just two.
Two more, yeah, it looks like there's two more. So, Rach, which is the next one you'd like us to talk about?
The next one I've got written down is the men's Money in the Bank match. Yep. Which is Sami Zayn, who beat Brock Lesnar, nearly said, Braun Strowman, versus Ricochet, versus Drew McIntyre, versus Baron Corbin, versus Ali, versus Finn Balor, versus Andrea, versus Randy Orton.
I thought Strowman was out of it.
Yes.
He is, yeah.
Sami
Zayn replaced him, yeah. I think Rach did say.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but I said, but accidentally he said Brock Lesnar.
I'd love to see Brock Lesnar in a Money in the Bank match. I don't think I'll see it happen, but it just kind of seemed, it doesn't seem his thing. He wouldn't really get out of bed to go and do that kind of thing. But so the men's it's another 8-man match, an 8-person match. It's the men's Money in the Bank match for a World Championship contract. Sami Zayn, who replaced Braun Strowman. I think we've got a little bit to talk about regarding Braun in a moment. Versus Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin, Boring Baron, last year's winner, versus Ali, or Mustafa Ali, as I still like to call him, versus Finn Balor, versus Andrade, versus Randy Orton. Vicky, a lot of interesting names in this match. Some former Money in the Bank winners, a couple of former world champions there, from what I can see. What do you think of this match?
This is gonna be a hard one for me. There are quite a few good names in this one, but the two that stand out to me the most is Andrade and Randy Orton. Andrade has really been pushing his way to the top. He's been really with Selena Vega, and everything else. Like, he's been absolutely awesome. I love the way he wrestles and everything, and it doesn't look like he takes anything for granted while he's in there. So between him and Randy Orton, as much as I would love to see Randy Orton redo it, Randy Orton's newly back from injuries and his hiatus and whatever. So I'm going to say Andrade for this. I really am.
Interesting thing.
Okay. Andrade is picked by Vicky. He was a decent NXT champion. Like when he first won the NXT title, I was like, oh, can't he put it on someone who's a little bit? He was good, but he was just, his character seemed a bit underdeveloped in NXT. But soon as he was champion and he was sort of knocking on with Selena on NXT TV every week, he kind of just skyrocketed really. And then it was like, yeah, I finally got it. He is that good and he deserved it. And he was in fantastic match with Aleister Black when he eventually dropped the title. That was a brilliant match, that was. Rach, the men's Money in the Bank. There's a lot to choose from here, a lot to chew over. What's your thoughts on this one?
I think, we can't count out Selena Vega because she might get involved in this match.
Almost certainly.
I don't think it's going to be Baron Corbin. I don't think it's going to be him.
Gotta hope.
I hope. Don't think, as much as I like Finn Balor, I don't think it's going to be him. Because he got the Intercontinental Championship, so I don't think he needs another championship. Sami Zayn, he's just come back from injury, so I think it's either going to be Andrea. I think it's going to be Andrea or Ricochet. And my head's telling me Andrea, but my heart's telling me Ricochet. I'm going to go with Andrea.
Right, we've got 2 for Andrade then.
Sorry, I don't pronounce his name.
Yeah, it's a tricky one to pronounce. So 2 for Andrade. Jason, there's 8 people to choose from here. We've had 2 for Andrade so far. What's your thoughts?
Right. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember. You said, did you? Is I can't think of his name. McIntyre.
The people in it are Sami Zayn, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Mustafa Ali, Finn Balor, Andrade, and Randy Orton.
Yeah, I am going to go with who I was thinking from the beginning, and that is McIntyre, right? Because I think he's just getting to that point now, right? Right? If anybody, deviating a little bit, but when he was away from WWE, if anyone saw that, he really, really developed. Yeah. He's a damn good wrestler when he's given the chance to be. Which is part of the problem. I would really love to see him. I mean, maybe he's one of the ones that fails at cashing in, but I would like to see McIntyre win.
Yeah,
and he's your pick, is he? He's who you think will win.
I think I hope so. I'd love him to win it.
You know what? I think this men's match is possibly a little easier to predict than the women's one. I'll go through some of the other people and why I don't think they'll win. Sami Zayn, he's fresh back from injury. I think they're doing sort of different things with him. Interestingly, replaced Braun Strowman. Now, I don't know how accurate this is, but the thought behind that is, apart from maybe Braun isn't particularly 100% fit, but they're also thinking it's a bit of a punishment because he was like forgetting his spots at the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. He missed his cues a few times, apparently. I mean, why anyone should particularly care? I mean, it's just a pre-show Battle Royal, but that's, you know how petty Vince McMahon is. He'll punish you for, if you like, you touch his shoulder pad, really, in a funny way. Ricochet there again. He'll be there for some good spots, but it's a bit early for him. Baron Corbin, God no, not again. Not set 2 years in a row. Bloody hell, I'll jump off a bridge if it's him. Ali, I'm a big fan of Ali. I think he's got a great upside, great young talent, but it's too early for him. I would like to see Ali be the one to defeat Samoa Joe for the US title, and for a few months' time. I think it's way too early for Ali to be winning anything like this. Finn Balor, he's the current IC champion. He's kind of like Ricochet. He's making up the numbers, and he can do some nice high spots. And Randy Orton, I'm sorry, but Randy Orton's just, he just gets put in these things because he's Randy Orton. He's a legend and a veteran, and he's had many world titles, and he's a former Money in the Bank winner. But do we really need to see Orton win this again? No. However, Drew McIntyre, I nearly picked him for the Royal Rumble. I was that convinced that he's going to get a big push, and I'm still convinced he's going to get a big push. In hindsight, I think him winning a Money in the Bank could be more suitable at this point than him winning a Royal Rumble. So I'm going to agree with Jason. Drew McIntyre has been so much improved since he came back to WWE from his absence when he was working for Impact and ICW and everything. So much more improved, so much more well-rounded character than what he used to be. He's put on the mass, he's bigger, he's meaner, just a better character, a better athlete. And I think Drew McIntyre is definitely still going to be a world champion in WWE. at some point. So why not this year when he from a Money in the Bank cash in? So he's my pick, Drew McIntyre. I think that's what's going to happen. I am going to pick Drew McIntyre for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match.
Splendid.
Woo. And we've got one more match to go. Rachel, what is it?
The Universal Championship with Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles.
Yep, so Universal title, Seth Rollins, he beat Brock Lesnar, as I kind of thought he probably would do in the opening match of WrestleMania, the opening pay-per-view match.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, which I kind of got it in the context of, what Lesnar and Heyman were all about. But so, yeah, Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles. AJ Styles is kind of a fresh face on Raw, sort of, with him having dominated over on SmackDown for so long. Should be a great match.
Yeah.
Babyface versus babyface, and I believe Styles has been sort of having a few heelish tendencies. Like I said, I don't see Raw and SmackDown. I only see the occasional clip and stuff, so I couldn't say. I'm just going by what I'm reading and what other people are saying. Vicky, the Universal title match, it looks a likely main event to me, this as well. So, Vicky, what have you got to say about this one?
Well, I think this one is going to be a good one. This one, I'm praying that it is a good, edge of your seat kind of match. AJ is awesome. Seth is awesome. They're both awesome wrestlers. With the way Seth has been going, I hope he retains it. But knowing AJ Styles, he's a tremendous wrestler as well. They both deserve the win either way. They're both amazing. I'm going to say Seth on this one. Seth is my prediction for this match, just because he just won it back from Brock. However, I will say that I know from this match that they're probably going to have a rematch, that AJ is going to want a second chance to win it again. Something's going to happen. There's going to be fights in the back, or something's going to happen. There's going to be a special match for this, but I really do think Seth's going to keep it. But I love AJ too, so this is a hard one for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. Rachel, it's the Universal Championship, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles. Who will win?
I think it will be the match of the night. I think both Seth and AJ are brilliant competitors. I know Seth, and they have faced each other before in Ring of Honor, and that was a fantastic match.
And
they're both. I think Seth will retain, and I think AJ will want a second chance at him.
Yeah.
But I think AJ will, do a couple of dirty tactics to try and win. But I think Seth will retain.
Yeah. Okay, Jason.
Oh, blimey. How'd you pick this one? Two very, very good wrestlers, and I've been a fan for both since before they were in WWE. I don't know, for those who don't know, that Seth was Tyler Black. Both just great at what they do. I'd say AJ is more my favourite than Seth. I do like Seth a hell of a lot, but AJ's like the man, as it were. Right, even to take away from from Becky or Rick. Oh, crikey! How do you choose? How do you choose?
That's a tough one.
I think logically would say, from what you were saying, it makes perfect sense that yes, Seth would win, and this goes into something more, because I think they could get a good few decent matches out of this. Yeah. Right? I think they could have a really good run with it. You can have your standard, you can have your standard matches. You can have a few sort of gimmicky matches, bloody blah. Yeah, I'm going to go with Seth as well, I think.
We've got 3 for Seth.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I am really looking forward to this match because it's two, as we know, outstanding wrestlers. Seth Rollins, I wouldn't say I've ever been a massive Seth Rollins fan, but I've appreciated his abilities for a long time now. I think he's as good a babyface as he's a heel, so it's good he's someone who can work either side. I think AJ Styles can work on either side of the sort of heel face divide as well. AJ Styles, I think maybe a full heel turn for AJ's possibly on the cards, especially if they're going to extend this. If they're going to have if this is going to be like the first out of the series, maybe going through to Extreme Rules or even beyond, maybe even up to SummerSlam, then yeah, there might be some shenanigans for this one where Seth wins, but it's like under suspicious circumstances, maybe a sort of fast count or so, the sort of thing. Or
I love that phrase, shenanigans.
But yeah, I think it's too early for Seth to lose his belt because he's like with Kofi and I suppose Becky Lynch as well. He's only held it for little over a month, and I think especially after all the Brock Lesnar stuff with the Universal title where it was barely around, we need one guy holding that title for quite a while and defending it on pay-per-views, every pay-per-view, and being successful at it. It needs that kind of build-up, and that it needs to get to a level of prestige that it's not been at. And I like Brock Lesnar. I won't say I'm a Brock Lesnar hater, because I'm not. But even I wouldn't want to see a world title on someone who is barely part-time. Kind of a exaggeration for Brock Lesnar. Let's be honest. And I think Brock Lesnar is due to appear at the Saudi show, by the way, and maybe we can sort of touch upon that in a bit. I don't think he's been booked in a match yet, but we'll see how that goes over the next few weeks. As for this one, yeah, I think this one's going to run, and I hope it does, because I think they're going to have some absolutely classical matches. I think AJ is going to go full heel at some point. But I'm going to go with the majority here, if I'm going to go with everybody, and say that Seth Rollins is going to retain his title at Money in the Bank. And there we are. That's all the predictions for Money in the Bank 2019. It is on tomorrow, of course, pay-per-view, WWE Network. You all know how the WWE Network works. And I'm sure you can all check your local times. I think for us in the UK, the pre-show will be... Now then, is it a 1 hour or 2 hour pre-show? I'm not sure.
I can just check.
Okay. Rachel's just going to check that. But while Rachel's checking that, the actual pay-per-view itself, for us in the UK, it'll start at midnight. So for those of you in Vicky's time zone, that's going to be 7 p.m. Sorry, not 5. Ignore that. 7 p.m.
On for an hour.
On Vicky's side of the world.
Yeah,
it's on for an hour.
Oh, just a 1 hour pre-show. So the pre-show is going to start at 11 UK time, and the pay-per-view 12 UK time, and so it's going to be 6 p.m. Vicky's time, 7 p.m. Vicky's time. Thank you, Big Rod. Thank you for coming in. Really appreciate it. Has anyone got anything else wrestling related that we want to talk about before we go? I don't mind. A bit of
just said about AEW, didn't we?
Yeah. Also,
sorry, Rach.
Also, the only match I know that's been confirmed for the Saudi show is The Undertaker versus Goldberg.
Yes, we will touch upon that briefly before we move on to AEW, because we'll obviously be doing a panel about Super Showdown the night before that, so we can discuss all the matches. But yeah, Undertaker versus Goldberg is confirmed. Also, Triple H versus Randy Orton's a confirmed match for Super Showdown. I know we've seen that match a ton of times, but I suppose this is about in a few years, I suppose. And there's supposedly, I don't think it's official yet, there's supposedly a 50-man battle royal as well. And like I say, Brock Lesnar is scheduled to be on the show because it's money. So yeah, he's bound to be there, but no idea who his opponent's going to be yet. But we will be doing a Super Showdown panel. It will be on Thursday. I keep looking at my calendar. Thursday, June the 6th, as it's a Friday show. The show's on June the 7th. So we'll be doing the panel on Thursday, June the 6th at 9 p.m. UK time. I will put videos up, hyping that up and everything nearer the time, so people can see the times for themselves. Before we go, we'll discuss AEW and Double or Nothing a tiny little bit. I can't really discuss it an awful lot because I've kind of been following it because I'm excited that this promotion's, getting so much momentum, but I can't really analyze a lot because I'm not familiar with a lot of the guys, a lot of their roster, and I don't even know if I'm going to be seeing the pay-per-view yet. Hopefully I will, but I'll have to see on the day. But Jason, what do you want to say about AEW, mate?
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite good. I've had a bit of a look at the card. There's some interesting matches. Obviously, you've got Jericho versus Kenny Omega, which I think could be a brilliant match.
Wrestle Kingdom. I mean, not this year's Wrestle Kingdom, but the one that was the previous January. That was the first Wrestle Kingdom I saw live, and I've been ill sort of over Christmas and New Year, and I was sort of getting up early in the morning, and it was like, I was starting to feel better by this point. I was up like something stupid like 5 a.m. and it's like, couple hours time, Wrestle Kingdom's on, brilliant. So I just kind of had like a really early breakfast. Yeah. And then I sat down and watched what was a phenomenal show. Better than this year. And this year's was really good. But the year before, I've so enjoyed that. I do recommend people, actually, I know we're drifting off again here a bit, but if you want to see one New Japan show every year, subscribe to New Japan World at the start of January, because they do a funny bill thing where if you subscribe at the end of the month, they'll charge you, but then they'll automatically charge you again on the 1st. So always subscribe after the 1st of the month to New Japan, and then you won't get billed like twice, sort of thing. And you can just cancel any time after. But yeah, January the 4th, Wrestle Kingdom show. I do recommend people go out their way to see that. I've seen the last couple, and
I think that's both the one I watched.
Fantastic. But yeah, AEW. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully we'll see Double or Nothing. I think Captain Sexy Pants, I'm not sure if he's still in the chat, but I think he's actually gone to see that live. He does live in Vegas, though. Do you think you'll be watching this at all?
I'm going to try and watch it. I'll probably watch it on the next day after, on the Sunday.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I may end up sort of buying it, but then buying it just to watch, sort of, in my leisure, sort of thing at a reasonable time. I'll decide on the day. And it is technically, I think it's a Saturday pay-per-view, isn't it? I think so.
I'll be 25th.
Go
on.
Yeah, although obviously for us it's technically Sunday morning because it's like 1 a.m.
Yeah, Saturday.
For Vicky and everyone in America and Canada, it is Saturday. So, Vicky, Double or Nothing. Are you going to be watching this? What are your thoughts on AEW in general?
Well, the thing is, like AEW, I think this is another one. Like, I like the fact that Cody Rhodes is doing what he's doing in this. I really commend him to try and compete with Vince with this company. He's trying to give the wrestlers that need to have the recognition they deserve. So I really give Cody kudos for this. Dean Ambrose has signed with them now. There's quite a few other really, Dustin Rhodes is, Goldust is now over there and everything. Like, there's a lot of, so I think I might actually watch it. I think it might be something to look at to see how it goes. Because like, we know how WWE's been going and everything else, like it's just, do you know what I mean? Like, wishy-washy with WWE. So I think AEW is going to give them a run for their money. I think even better than Impact did.
I don't know if you're aware.
Certainly. I mean, I think, Impact and TNA just made too many mistakes with management and
it's not even TNA anymore anyway.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it got confusing. There's name changes and then ownership changes. I mean, that was just tip of the art. I mean, I think by then I'd already considered it a dead duck company by then anyway. I didn't think a name change particularly would make any difference, and it hasn't. To me, TNA/Impact barely worth mentioning. It's not even on my radar anymore, to be honest.
No.
And which is a shame, because even though the booking was kind of stupid a lot of the time, I did used to enjoy a lot of TNA pay-per-views. I used to collect some DVDs and some good matches. You know, people like, you know, I remember a triple threat match at AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, and Samoa Joe. That was the main event of the pay-per-view.
Well, I went to see it. I went to see it live several times. I know. Always a good show.
But Impact, not even,
No, I agree on that.
They maybe could have made more of a challenge if they'd done more things correctly. But AEW, they've got the money behind them. They've got what sounds like a good TV deal with TNT.
I was going to mention that, yeah.
Wrestling is coming back to the Turner Network for the first time in nearly 2 decades. Wow.
Yeah.
They've got some good people sort of behind the scenes, people like Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks, and the roster. Although I'm not familiar with a lot of the roster, they've obviously bringing some big names in like Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, Dustin Runnels, etc., etc.
It's going to be interesting to see. I was just going to say it's going to be interesting what they do with Dustin. It's where it's been.
One person to really watch is Jimmy Havoc. He is one of the best UK wrestlers, the king of the death match.
So if you're into sort of hardcore death matches, then yeah. And I used to watch some of those, and it was kind of like after a while, it's like you sort of like, oh, I need a break from all this sort of mindless violence. But it's kind of like a sort of standalone thing. Yeah.
But there he is.
It's not sort of different.
Yeah, I thought you were involved that.
That's Jimmy Havoc.
But I think AEW will be a good alternative to WWE, and whether I watch the pay-per-view or not next Saturday, but I possibly will, or I may try and catch it at a later date or whatever. I really hope they succeed. The TV deal sounds very good. All sounds very positive so far. I think they've got good people behind them. I don't think they're going to fuck it up big style like TNA did. And good luck to them is what I say.
Yeah, definitely.
On that positive note, I think I'm probably going to end this here and wish everyone happy Money in the Bank viewing for tomorrow night if you're watching it. And to thank everyone in the chat who came in at any point tonight, much appreciated. I want to thank my co-panelists, Jason, Rach, and Vicky. Thank you so much, guys, as always. Really appreciate you hosting these with me. So thank you so much for that. So
always good fun.
Yeah, it's always good fun.
Thank you, Big Rod. Really appreciate that. That's going to be it for us for tonight. But we will be back pretty soon, early June, to preview Super Showdown. So look forward to that. Yes. So thank you, everybody. Enjoy Money in the Bank if you're watching it. Enjoy Double or Nothing next weekend if you're watching that. And we'll all see you the next time. Right. Cheers, everybody. See ya.